What up, friends? Quick apologies that we haven't been doing as much stuff. Mark just knocked something over. Disregard that. It was just my whiteboard where I scroll down crazy shit. Please accept my apology. We've been traveling and stuff, and my wife is working in another town, and so it's back and forth, but it's unforgivable. The job is to bring you analysis, fight analysis, life analysis, the things that we learned from fighting, all of that. That's what we're doing. That's the job. And so please forgive me that I have been slacking off. Mark is ready to go all the time. So fighting is about fighting 17. Quick disclaimer. I always try to mention this. This is a segment about the things we've learned from doing this job. So it's things I've learned from the study. A lot of things we learned from how to share things, the technology of the world that we're in, what it is to chase a dream, the trials and setbacks of trying to grow this business. They call me an influencer now, apparently. I thought I was a fight analyst. But all of that. So if that's, I do a little bit of motivational speaking now in my own way as the show goes. I just got back from Ireland. So I'm trying to learn lessons through the study of martial arts and through the execution of doing this job and growing these businesses on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and all of these things and the live show and my seminars and all that kind of stuff. And in doing so, there's lots of trials, lots of setbacks, lots of learning. And so that's what we pass on here. So I'm a minute in. If I wasted your minute, this ain't for you. I totally understand. And I'll try to say that in 30 seconds next time. All right. But if this is something you find interesting, I really appreciate you. So this was the very first thing we ever did. It was in this room. Mark came over. It was the first night I met him. And I had just been laid off of a job that I had for, closing on 10 years. And that was 15, 16 months ago now, something like that. And in that time, we've learned a tremendous amount. And the world has changed many times still. The biggest takeaway and a big theme of every time we get a chance, now it's only every 2-3 weeks, sometimes every month. If this is number 17, it's almost 17 months. So we're averaging once a month to take this moment to see what we've learned, to see if there's any value in it for you guys in your businesses or your life or, studying change. And when I think about that now, the issue of suddenly finding myself, a freelancer was because the company that I worked for cut entire departments. They did that because they didn't understand the change that was happening around them. And I'm not trying to shit talk them. That's just analysis. I don't think a lot of people would disagree with that. When I went to a media seminar and people were asking me, well, how did you get out of your contract so that you could become a freelancer? And I was like, actually, they cut in 2016. They cut, or 2016, 2017. This company I worked for cut their digital department. And people just think that's crazy because they didn't understand the change that they were in and that the job was to try to, gather people who like the information or entertainment or whatever that you have. And however you do that, whichever way you do that, your main job is to make something of real value, to give people something of real value. For some, that's fight analysis. On Instagram and Twitter, that's 1-minute breakdowns, which is still expertise and analysis and building. And so your job is to give people value and give them as much as possible for as much free as possible to earn their trust or to earn their faith or to earn their commitment to your work so that a couple times a year, either somebody else pays you, there's nothing on this t-shirt, but if somebody paid me to wear this t-shirt, I would wear it. And then I would say to you guys, hey, these guys paid me to wear this t-shirt so I can make free content. That's the model now. That's the job. So traveling around, we learned a lot about that. But that was it 16, 17 months ago. It's changing again. If you're now going, well, we got to get on YouTube. Well, YouTube is different. And Instagram TV exists now, which is all going to make YouTube itself a challenge. There's all of this stuff. You're watching Netflix, you're watching YouTube, you're consuming things in all these different places. It changes the job. It changes everybody's jobs. There are large, big companies. I'm talking Coke or McDonald's or Nike level companies. And in the next couple of years, you'll see some of them disappear. And people's little shoe company will pop up, or Steve's Burgers will pop up, or Mark's sugary, caffeinated, bubbly, syrupy, dark beverage in a red can will pop up. And that's the world that we're in. The upside is it has infinite freedom. Literally, any of you can right now start your own YouTube channel and share ideas, or share content, or share insight, or go on a journey of study and learning and document that journey. Everybody can do it. And that's what we're doing here. And in that time and so I'm passing on what I've been learning in the last while, is, of course, it's challenging. You probably do 70 or 80 or 90% of your work for free. And to do that, you have therefore given, one, you've proven that this is what you do. Not like, well, I'll work really hard, but I sure hope it pays. Like, if I haven't made it by, 25, I'm going back to college. It's not going to happen. That's why you have to pursue something you're just insanely passionate about. So that when people say, I'd do that for free, we'll be ready to do that. Be ready to do that. But along the way, things will pop up that make sense to you. So one of those for me was my one-man show. I started to take all of these lessons and all of this time spent sharing ideas and studying and talking and getting comfortable expressing things, and molded that with a professional writer based on my life story into a one-man show. I did it in Winnipeg, and I did it in London, Ontario, and I did it we sold out a little venue in Toronto, and it's got bigger each time. And I just was in Ireland last week. I asked John Kavanagh, who coaches many of the best fighters in Ireland, including Conor McGregor's the one you know most. I asked him if he would also be an interview guest after I ran the one-man show. So it was beautiful. We traveled out there. We had hundreds of people come out and see it and support it, and I got to share these ideas. Now, that you end up being paid for. And in theory, and Brendan Schaub is a perfect example of this. Brendan, his show's fantastic, and we loved it. And he now goes, and because it's good, again, everything has to rely on you have to make something of quality that people care about. It doesn't matter how well you search engine optimize shit, right? You can have shit, brown shit. Like, you can search engine optimize anything you want, but if someone doesn't want it, it doesn't matter, right? If it is of quality, and you find out through engagement, and you find out through sharing, and you find out through fighters requesting 1-minute breakdowns, but whatever your metric is, you're going to find out. It's going to slowly, over time, you'll get better and better. So Brendan, by this point, does 4 and 5 and sometimes 6 sold-out shows. It allows him to make all of this day-to-day documenting and breakdowns and analysis and comedy and chatting and all of these things, and then you give it away. You give people as much as you can make. They take it. They appreciate it. Who gives you anything for free anymore? Well, the people that you follow do. The Rock doesn't ask you for money to put up cool shit on his Instagram. He just does it. And he shares it with you. And over time, you make relationships with people. And then when Brendan comes to your town or Robin Black comes to your town, we say, hey, do you see fit? You don't have to by any means. Keep consuming and studying and sharing this stuff. Take it, please, because we're making it with no expectations. But if when we're in your town, if you got $20, do you want to come down for an hour or a 2-hour show? We're going to hang out, we're going to chat, we're going to talk about fighting, and then, oh, you really liked it? You want to buy an Enjoy the Hostilities t-shirt? And then $45 was exchanged once a year. And the other hundreds of hours, Brendan or Robin or any of your favorite people that make stuff, give it for free. And they don't ask for anything in return. Nobody's saying you must buy a t-shirt. People are saying, if this has entertained you, and if you genuinely appreciate it, consider it. That's how you do it these days. And that's why there isn't going to be 1,000 channels like there is today in only 2 years. There's only going to be the ones that are really, really good, mixed with doing the things that they really, really love. Because the amount of give that you have to want to do to be capable of saying, you want to buy a t-shirt? Don't have to. You don't have to. But you interested? Would you consider it? To be in that position in the world we live in, you have to really be willing and able to just keep giving stuff. I made 450 one-minute breakdowns, not a penny made. Well, there's been a few. People have paid us to make some, and people come to think of it, that's the other way. All of a sudden, you start making something, and somebody says, well, would you consider analyzing my show? It's like, well, sure, and we're not going to charge you too much. You want to, what's the word? Would commission some analysis? Well, it's going to be honest. If your show sucks, I'm not going to say your show is good because I'm not trading that trust with your audience. You see how it works? This is the world that we're living in. So what's the moral of the story, Robin Black? What are you talking about? The moral of the story is you must find something that you love to do because you're going to be doing a shitload of it for very little payback. All you're going to do is earn the right to ask, would you consider buying my t-shirt? That's the job now. But it's exciting because fuck, we can be everywhere. Nobody has to hire me to do those breakdowns. I did 450 of them. And they get viewed, my 1-minute breakdowns, if you go to Instagram, at Robin Black MMA on Instagram, I think we should put them all up on the website too, robinblackmma.com. Please check that out if you would. Again, you don't have to. This is free. If you're enjoying any of this information or any of it is useful, take it. Go out into the world, and if there's a nugget that's good, share it with somebody else. But if you would consider going to the website, please check it out. And hey, you can buy t-shirts there. So if you're like, shit, yeah, I have watched 190 of your breakdowns. I wouldn't mind. Let me see your t-shirts. You don't like them? Don't buy them. Nope. Nobody can make you do anything. And when people tell you to do something, tell them to fuck right off. We live in a time of free choice. Free choice. There's never been more choice than we have right now. Sometimes we don't feel like it because we're told what to do a lot. And I've had the good fortune. We're back to YouTube now because I apologize. I have, not spent as much time here as I really should because you guys have been so good to us. But if you go over to where, because I've been alone someplace with just a phone, go over to Instagram, some of these 1-minute breakdowns are doing 50 and 100,000 views. And people are like, how come so many people are watching yours? How come so many people are engaging in yours? And the only answers is they have to be good. They just have to be good. And you got to do a lot of them, and you got to ask nothing in return. Just put them out. And if they really are that good, they'll pop up to the top. People start sharing them. People start talking about them. And at that point, people will come to you and say, can you break down 5 from my show? We'll give you $1,000 or a couple $1,000. That's the modern way. That's influencers, they're calling them now. I mean, that's a weird one. When I say now, I do sound like an old man. They've been using, that term's been around for a couple of years.
Just before it was tastemakers.
Yeah, tastemakers, people were saying before. It's like YouTubers, It's a wild one. But the idea that if we go and make, 100 hours or 200 hours of ideas and analysis and breakdowns and storytelling and layer digging and curiosity seeking, and we do that, and 10% of it or 5% of it ends up paying enough to keep doing that and have a living, that's a dream. That is a dream. That's a dream. Like the idea that all I do is study martial arts all day, all the time. And the things around it, the extension of martial arts, talking about technology and how it's working, all you're doing is analyzing patterns the same way you analyze footwork patterns. It's the same thing. Most things in life really are. There are patterns that are there, some of which you study, you think you found them, and then they change. And I guess that will neatly wrap up to back where we began. 16 or 17 months ago, I ended up here free to do these things because the world was changing and the environment I was in was not changing with it. So it had to crack a little bit, whether they had to cut something or change something or weren't keeping up. That's irrelevant. That's not a good or bad thing. I'm not passing judgment or that just was the truth. It's changed many times since then, and it'll change many, many more. So what you are seeking to do is be comfortable in change itself. And realize that nothing is stable. You know, the way the world works, the country you live in, the finances. I mean, cryptocurrency, if you're 20, that's normal. That's always been around. Well, if you're 40, that's only been around for some people, they've only heard about it for 2 or 3 years. And some people are like, cryptocurrency, yeah, I heard about that. What is that? You know? And then technology. This thing is only fucking smartphones. 8 or 10 years old. If you're 60, that's not normal. And these things are accelerating. This is life now. And being comfortable in the instability, the easy way to do that is develop a skill based on your passion so that you can consistently get better and better and better at it. And as things change, your job starts to be to understand the change and figure out how your skill and your passion applies to it. What can you give people? And, you know, there still is a world of people who are like, you know, what's next for this guy? And what does this mean to the rankings? Rankings are nonsense. We all know that. People talk, oh, he might get the next title shot. For which belt? Is there 2 or 3 in each division now? It's not the same. The meaning changes. The world changes. And that's been part of the adventure. And we're very lucky to be on this adventure. And we're very lucky to have you guys. And I hope, you know, the meandering and this type of thinking, this type of study and curiosity seeking, that's why I clear some of the people out at the beginning who aren't interested. And if you're still here, I really appreciate it, man. And that means you like it. And that means I can ask you for something. So please go see the website, robinblackmma.com, and follow me on Instagram. I'm going to give you 10, sometimes 15, sometimes 18 one-minute breakdowns every single week. It's Robin Black MMA there too. And thanks, you guys. We'll be back in definitely less than 3 or 4 weeks. And I'm going to try to keep this thinking and exploring going because it's fascinating to me, and I hope it is to some of you guys. And please come check out my one-man show. It means a lot to me. And, you know, if I just was asking, hey, come pay me some money and see my show, and it sucks, I would never do that. People seem to really like it. Seem to really, really enjoy it and get something from it. And it was purposeful that when we crafted these stories for it, it was with trying to pass on lessons that we learned from success and, more importantly, from failure. All right? Thanks so much. I think Mark's going to have this one up within hours of when we did it. And depending when you watch this, we're going to have UFC 226, 3, 4, maybe 5 fight previews over the next coming days. And then I'll be back with Mark, and we'll try to do 5, 6, 7 more so we can get rolling again on YouTube because we appreciate you guys here. Thank you so much. Blackout.